Investing with just $100. Imagine two people. Person A has $50,000 sitting in their bank account. Person B has $100 in their pocket and a phone. 10 years from now, who do you think will have more money invested? Most people would say person A, obviously. They have more money to start with. But here's the strange truth. In a lot of real cases, person B ends up ahead. Not because they got lucky, not because they found some secret stock, but because of one psychological difference between them that has nothing to do with how much money they had. Person A is waiting until they have enough, waiting until the market feels safer, waiting until they understand investing better, waiting until life calms down a little. Person B already started with just $100. And that one decision, starting versus waiting, is going to matter more than almost anything else in this story. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand why $100 can actually change your entire financial future, and why the amount of money you start with matters so much less than you think. The belief that keeps people broke. Here's a belief almost everyone carries around, usually without even noticing it. I'll start investing once I have real money. It sounds responsible. It sounds mature. It sounds like the smart thing to say. But it's actually one of the most expensive sentences a person can say to themselves. Because real money never quite arrives. There's always a reason to wait. A car repair, a rent increase, a vacation you deserve after a hard year, a subscription here, a night out there. Money has a funny way of expanding to fill whatever space it's given. If you make $3,000 a month, your life adjusts to spend close to $3,000 a month. If you get a raise to $4,000, your life quietly expands again. This is sometimes called lifestyle creep, and it's one of the sneakiest patterns in personal finance because it doesn't feel like a mistake while it's happening. It feels like comfort. It feels like you're finally living a little. So, the idea of waiting until you have extra money to invest is actually a trap, because there's rarely ever extra money left over. There's just money that already has a job to do, spent before it even lands in your account. Meanwhile, the psychological weight of investing gets bigger and bigger in your mind. You start thinking you need thousands of dollars saved up. You start thinking investing is something rich people do, or something you do later. Once you're older, once you're more stable, once you finally understand the stock market. And this belief is exactly what keeps so many people stuck watching from the sidelines for years, sometimes decades, while their money just sits there, or worse, quietly loses value to something most people never think about: the silent thief called inflation. Let's talk about why simply saving your money isn't as safe as it feels. Imagine you put $100 under your mattress today. In 10 years, you pull it out. It's still $100. The number hasn't changed. But what that $100 can actually buy has changed a lot, because prices rise over time. This is called inflation, and it's basically the slow, invisible shrinking of what your money is worth. Think of it like a block of ice sitting in the sun. It doesn't disappear immediately. It doesn't even look like it's melting if you glance at it for a second. But come back in a few hours, and it's noticeably smaller. Cash sitting still, not invested, not growing, behaves the same way. It quietly melts in value every single year, even though the number in your account stays exactly the same. This is why playing it safe by just saving cash isn't actually as safe as it feels emotionally. It feels safe because nothing seems to be happening. But something is happening. Your money's power to buy things in the future is shrinking, little by little, every year. Investing is essentially the opposite of that melting ice cube. Instead of your money slowly losing value, it has a chance to grow in value over time, sometimes slowly, sometimes faster, but generally trending upward when you give it enough time. And this is where the real magic of investing with even a small amount of money comes in. Why $100 is not too small. Let's break down what actually happens when you invest $100. Say you put that $100 into a simple investment that grows on average around 8% a year, which is roughly the kind of long-term average many diversified stock investments have historically produced. After 1 year, your $100 becomes about $108. Not exciting, not life-changing, just a little bit more. But here's where it gets interesting. That growth doesn't just apply to your original $100 every year, it applies to the new total each time. So, in year 2, you're not growing $100 again, you're growing $108. In year 3, you're growing whatever that becomes. This process is called compound growth, and it works a lot like a snowball rolling down a hill. At the top of the hill, the snowball is small. It picks up a little bit of snow, barely noticeable, but as it keeps rolling, it doesn't just add snow at the same slow rate. It picks up more and more with each rotation because now there's more surface area, more size, more momentum. Give that snowball enough hill, enough time, and it turns into something enormous, even though it started as something you could hold in one hand. Your $100 is that small snowball. It looks insignificant sitting at the top of the hill, but time is the hill, and the longer you let it roll, the bigger it becomes, not through effort, not through you doing anything new, but simply because you let it keep going. Over 30 years, that single $100, left untouched and growing at that same average rate, could turn into over $1,000. That's a tenfold increase for money you never touched again after the initial investment. Now, here's the part that really shifts how people think about this. Most people don't invest just once. They add a little more regularly. Imagine that same person adds another $100 every single month, not just the one time. This is often called consistent investing or dollar cost averaging, which really just means investing a set amount regularly, no matter what the market is doing that day. If someone did that, $100 a month for 30 years, at that same historical average growth rate, they could end up with several $100,000, built almost entirely from small, repeated contributions. Not from being rich, not from picking the perfect stock, just from consistency and time. This is the part that surprises people the most. It was never really about how much money you started with. It was about starting and then staying consistent. The psychology behind why people wait. So, if starting small clearly works, why don't more people do it? The answer is mostly psychological, not mathematical. There's a concept in psychology called the all-or-nothing mindset. It's the belief that if you can't do something perfectly or completely, there's no point doing it at all. You see this pattern everywhere in life, not just money. Someone wants to start exercising, but they think, what's the point of a 15-minute walk? I need a full gym routine or nothing. Someone wants to eat healthier, but they think, I already messed up breakfast. Might as well eat whatever for the rest of the day. With money, this shows up as $100 won't really do anything, so I'll wait until I have thousands. But as we just walked through, that thinking is backwards. The snowball doesn't care how big it was on day one. It only cares how long it gets to roll. There's also something psychologists call loss aversion, which is the idea that losing money feels far more painful than gaining the same amount feels good. Losing $50 feels worse than gaining $50 feels good, even though mathematically they're the same amount. This is why investing can feel scary, even with small amounts. The brain is wired to protect what it has, more than it's wired to grow what it has. This is actually a survival instinct left over from a time when losing resources could be life-threatening. But in a modern financial world, this instinct often works against us. It makes people avoid investing altogether because the fear of a temporary dip in value feels bigger in the mind than the very real, well-documented tendency for diversified investments to grow over long periods of time. And then there's a third psychological piece worth understanding, something called present bias. This is our brain's natural tendency to value immediate rewards, much more than future ones, even when the future reward is objectively bigger. It's why a new pair of shoes today can feel more appealing than a slightly bigger retirement account you won't touch for 30 years. The reward today is real, immediate, and emotionally satisfying. The reward in the future is abstract, distant, and easy to dismiss. This is exactly why so many people struggle to start investing, even when they know, logically, that it's a smart decision. It's not a math problem. It's a psychology problem. The real insight, it was never about the amount. Here's the deeper idea underneath all of this. Wealth building isn't primarily about how much money you have access to right now. It's about the habits and behaviors you build around money, repeated consistently over a long period of time.
If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more simple finance lessons.